Hello and welcome to another Wednesday evening chat with Louise. So let's talk about spiritualism. What does it mean to you? I've been fascinated by it from an early age. We have healers in the family, but this is one of the things I want to talk about because I believe everyone can heal. But spirituality, when you think of a spiritual person or when you think of a healer, do you imagine some yogi sat on a mountain? Or, some sort of hippie being very natural with the earth? Or is that kind of the bracket that you want them to fit into to make you feel that they are spiritual? And it made me think about when I went to the Arthur Findlay College, which is the home of the Spiritualist National Union. And it is the most beautiful place, beautiful building with the most wonderful energy. And one of the things on their open day, if you ever go, is they offer healing. And you literally sit in a chair side by side facing each other and just place your hand on top of the other person's hand. And it's that beautiful universal exchange of energy, healing in its simplest form. So I've done Reiki, and a lot of people are like, well, I've done Reiki 1 or I've done Reiki 2. Well, I'm a Reiki master. I'm not knocking any of that. But that doesn't make anybody better than anybody else. And at the end of the day, all healing is, for me, and the way I see it is, and from that beautiful experience at the Arthur Findlay College, it's an exchange of energy. And with us, we channel energy from the universe through to help heal people, because everything's energy. We're energy. When you look at an inanimate object that you think solid, it's just energy vibrating at a different level. So this thing about people and their perceptions of how you should heal, I have found in my healing that people come, often the most healing takes place in that first 20 minutes, half an hour, however long it takes, when you listen to them, when they talk to you about why they've come, what their problems are, and as their life unfolds. And holding space for them by listening to them often is the first part of the healing, perhaps the biggest part of the healing sometimes. I remember talking to one of my teachers and asking her and saying I feel a bit of a fraud when I heal, because literally I can just zone out. I could be thinking about what I'm doing for tea, but the healing still carries on. And I remember her saying to me, that's because you're getting out of the way of yourself. You're allowing your spirit guides to help, to do the work, to what they do best, and you're not getting in the way. You're not allowing your ego to get in the way. And I found that very interesting, and it's made me look more at how other people work and what they do. Some people, especially when they practice healing, feel they've got to fill an hour. So let's do all the Reiki movements, because for people who don't know, Reiki is a set pattern of hand movements that you go over the different energy centers in the body. And that's great. If that's how you want to work, I have no issue with that at all. But I have a friend who will probably watch this, who is a very, very talented healer. And when she was first healing, holding her hands in the area, it was just too powerful for the people. And being told that she can't move and move around and do what she wanted to do made her feel that she wouldn't be a healer. What a waste. Because everybody has the ability to heal. And even if you just heal yourself. Now, I know from early on, I always felt spirit, a male energy to me. I'm freezing cold, female, I'm really warm. So yes, for quite a long time in my life, people thought I was weird because I was freezing cold most of the time. Then I got to learn about guys and how we work with them and how different guys on our team. And that could probably be another vlog another day. But I've learned to really trust them. And one of the things that I questioned about some of the hands-on healing is, if it's being sort of held in, how are you not allowing release? So I suppose talking to people is a form of release. But I've watched some of the Chinese and you know, Tibetan and those sort of practices, and they very much work with the energy, but there's a lot of release as well. So that I found really interesting. And then also when you talk to people and they say, well, what do you do? And it's very hard to quantify what you do. But for me, I will sit and I will just ask my guides to come and work with me. I'll hold my hands, and then sometimes they'll move, sometimes they'll draw away, sometimes they'll help, and I'm guided to where I'm meant to go. And often it can just be sitting at somebody's feet or by their head or around their shoulders if they're sitting. And often it can last between 10 and 20 minutes, and that's it. I don't need to fill an hour. I don't need to, and I've had to learn this, that people's expectations, if you manage them before you talk to them, then that's good enough. And the right people are attracted to the people that can help heal them. But just as an experiment, if you push your hands together and you start to feel, there'll come a point where they get to a stage and it kind of stops, and you're starting to feel the energy that surrounds us. People refer to it as auras. Auras can be huge, they can be really expansive, and they can also withdraw, and we can push them in and out. Energy can be manipulated, and it is absolutely fascinating. So just when you're thinking about it, how could you heal yourself? When you go to sleep at night, I sometimes hold my hands here and I can feel the energy. You can ask to be healed. You can ask and say, please, will you hear me? The minute I do that, I get a hot, fuzzy feeling in my hands. That's how it feels to me. And I know when a session's over because it stops, literally. And my hands almost sometimes ping away. So I find that fascinating. But do I look like a spiritual healer? Probably not. I like clothes, I like handbags, yes. So having a Prada handbag, does that make me less spiritual than somebody? No, it doesn't. And I think this is where ego becomes part of it. And that's a thing I'm working with still myself, is getting out of the way of ourselves, really. Our self-sabotage, our self-beliefs, and allowing the universe, our guides, your angels, whatever you like to call them, to work with you. Perhaps to listen to them as much as we listen to the negative things in life and the worries and all those sort of things. So perhaps going back to quiet time, to meditation, and to asking. But I really do believe that as energetic spiritual beings we can heal ourselves. So ego, we've all got it, and it's a good thing. We have to have balance. You always hear me banging on about balance, but you need ego, but it doesn't have to be all about that. So when we're talking about healing and when we're talking about the things we do, I really don't talk about it much. I find I'd rather help when somebody needs it. And like I say, sometimes that can just be listening and holding the space for them. And other times it can be a little bit of work. But I do trust that I will know, and I just trust my intuition, because intuition is the universe or your higher self or whatever talking to you. So when I'm working with somebody, I'm very much guided. I sometimes get messages for them, but you have to be very careful, again, not to allow ego to creep in and go, oh, I've got a message from Spirit for you. It has to be the right time and the appropriate time. And I think this is something we have to manage. And I think especially early on in our spiritual journeys, we're so excited to have this contact that we perhaps don't always shut down. I know the last week with my lack of sleep, I've come to an understanding. I spoke to my teacher about it and realised that yes, Spirit was desperately trying to help me, but it was just too much and I needed sleep. And it's because my practice, my daily practice, had gone out the window because I got busy, and that was their way of contacting me. So now I've gone back to meditating and finding that time for these downloads, for this information, for this knowledge, rather than it being something that takes over this time when I need to sleep, so that I become this mess and I can't help anybody. But it's interesting how our life paths, even when we try and resist, take us back down that route again. And I know that as my life becomes more settled and my home becomes more settled, then this is where my future lies. And I'm just going to put that out to Spirit. But healing family is really interesting because they are the biggest skeptics, and that's where I started. Thankfully, my uncle is a healer, full-time healer, and when he married my auntie, that's the family side of it, suddenly my very, very skeptical family were more open to it because it was okay to hear it from him. He heals in a very different way. He's what they call a dynamic healer, and people move and go through sequences and things when he's healing them. That's absolutely fascinating. And no, I don't heal like that. Mine's very gentle, a lot softer energy, but it's a nurturing one. And my mum, who was very religious, I know when I had tarot cards in the house when I was 16, they were the work of the devil and I wasn't allowed them at home, had to hide them, has come around full circle now, and she actually has a very gentle healing once a week. She's in her late 80s and it's really helping her to keep going. And her experience of it, she's the minute I sit down, the tingling, she tingles all over, and it's helping her blood flow around her body. Sometimes it can be in her face. She's had problems with neuralgia and things like that, and it just helps the flow. Again, she's got a problem with her back, and she can lie there still as still while it's happening and feel supported. So it's a really good way for us to communicate together, because we've not always had an easy relationship. But for me, that's my way of being able to thank my mum for the time she looked after me. So that's really nurturing and for both of us. And then I think other examples have been when I've been healing, and I've literally, towards the end of it, I'll get up and say, and just gently tell them that it's finished now, and they'll go, somebody's still holding my feet. Now, I don't touch when I heal. My hands are above. I work within the aura, within the energy. So it's really interesting to feel that they've felt hands touching them, and they can feel hands holding their feet and in different places. And I just thank my guides. So I hope you found that interesting, and I hope you realise that even if you don't feel the energy perhaps in the way I do or other people do, it doesn't mean it's not there. And I truly believe if you ask, you can heal yourself and you can heal others. And even if you just do it through listening to somebody, I still think that's a really, really important thing. Thank you for being here, and I hope you're all keeping well and enjoying a little bit better weather. Thank you.